afternoon. Here is the national news from BGI TV, Baba Bangede Imo TV. I am Morire Regila Lawal. First are the major headlines for the news. Many wounded, shops burnt as Yoruba Hausa youth clash in Ogun. Bamishe, relief as BRT resumes operations in Lagos. Still on BRT murder, Guardian mourns says Bamishe was a hard-working, diligent young lady. Slain BRT victim, Bamishe was a virgin, mom inconsolable, dad had to pacify, brother-in-law. Head of Abakari probe panel, DIG Ebunike slums, dies in Abuja 10 minutes after medical checkup. 8,217 were not inside Kwara Forest. TCN explains nationwide power outage. Now the news in detail. Some Yoruba youth and their outside counterparts have reportedly engaged one another in a bloody clash at the popular Lafenwa market in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, on Monday. Many were injured and shops were set ablaze during the incident. It was gathered that the clash, which started on Monday evening, snowballed into a full-blown crisis by Tuesday morning, with several shops razed and many injured. According to a report, the crisis was ignited by a fight between the Yoruba man and the Hausa man. The Hausa man was presumed dead, having sustained serious injuries, which provoked the Hausa traders, who reportedly went on rampage, destroying properties worth millions of naira. An eyewitness who confirmed the incident said the crisis took a worse turn when the Seriki Hausa, head of the Hausa settlers, who was called to intervene in the crisis, was seriously injured. The source who spoke with the Daily Post but preferred anonymity said the Seriki Hausa, who was called upon to settle the issue, was injured and this further worsened the crisis. The man is currently receiving treatment at the Federal Medical Center, FMC, Idiaba. The state police public spokesperson, Abimbola Oyemi, who confirmed the incident, said the situation had been brought under control. He said no life was lost, contrary to the report that the Hausa man was killed in the fire incident. Oyemi added that the police had arrested several persons in connection to the crisis. But contrary to what people are insinuating, no life was lost, but people were injured while shops were also burnt and property destroyed. Meanwhile, traders who lost their wares to the crisis berated the police, saying the police did not answer us when we went to their station to report. The bus Rapid Transit has resumed its operations across Lagos State. The Punch reported on Tuesday that the BRT operations were suspended across the state following the death of 22-year-old Bamishe Anyonwola. The suspension of the BRT services led to what some commenters called a very terrible situation, as stranded passengers were seen in large numbers at major bus stops and BRT terminals, while many took to trekking to their destinations. Routes started queuing off to board down for yellow buses, and the fares also tripled. It was a very terrible situation, a commentator told correspondent. However, there was relief Wednesday morning as the BRT terminal in Ikorodu, visited by correspondent, was open for operation with some buses boarding passengers. An official of Premier told the Punch that operations are fully resumed across the states. Asked if issues leading to the suspension had been resolved, the official said, "We can only be patient to see how things turn out." Nobody is happy with the incident, however. Because of the suffering of the negotiations occasioned by yesterday's suspension, we have to resume operations today. He noted that the Lagos state government was working out modalities that would ensure the safety of negotiations, and he appealed to commenters not to lose their trust in the BRT services. A commentator who simply gave a name as Susan told correspondent that yesterday was tough. I wouldn't have left the house today if not that it was mandatory for me to be at work. But coming here to see the BRT operations have resumed, one can only have a sigh of relief. Still on the BRT, Caroline Oni, the grieving guardian of late Bamishe Anyonwola, has revealed more about the young teller. Oni described Anyonwola as a focused and hardworking lady who wasn't promiscuous. And still on the same story, concerned Nigerians have been reacting to the gruesome murder of 22-year-old Oluwabamishi Anyonwola, who was declared missing after boarding a Lagos bus Rapid Transit BRT, only for a lifeless body to be found at the morgue of the mainland hospital, Yaba, Lagos, later days. The deceased, fashion designer, was said to have boarded the BRT bus with number plate 240257 from Chevron bus stop at Lekki to Oshodi at about 7 p.m., heading to her elder brother's place at Idimo, but she never got to her destination and could not be reached on her phone until her remains were found. Fleeing driver of the BRT bus, Andrew Nice, was arrested in his hideout at Hausa, Ogun State, by the Department of State Services (DSS). He was thereafter handed over to the police. He was arrested alongside a man that abhorred him. When Vanda Metro visited Isaleko area opposite Ilubiri Estate, where the decomposed body of Olubamishi was dumped, the majority of the residents denied knowledge of the incident due to fear of any unforeseen aftermath. Pressed further by the reporter, some dwellers who summoned the courage to talk said that when our body was discovered a day after the incident, some body parts were no longer found. This is contrary to police claims that nothing was missing in our body. Another resident of the area, Mr. Konde Idowu, who spoke with correspondents, said that many people saw the lifeless body but walked away due to fear. He said, "Let me correct you, this place is not the Gogoro community, it is Isaleko. People may call it that name, but because many people sell Gogoro here, but that is not a name. As regards the death of that young lady, it is unfortunate that people didn't see it on time. It was the following day before they saw it, and I heard that they reported it to the council people who later informed the police. When we saw her, she was covered with blood and there was nothing anybody can do again." However, the district brother-in-law to the deceased, Engineer Johnson Omilano, told Metro on the phone that the driver was lying. He's lying and all he said were lies. "I'm happy he ran away the first time because he knows the crime he committed. I believe he had no idea that the lady did some recordings and shared them with her friends while on the bus. My surprise is it was not quite long when we discovered a dead body that man was arrested and paraded. He confessed that he ran away because he was afraid. The question to ask is, why didn't he report the incident to the company's management and the police?" So I asked some people to wait while I went to Akipeli police station to make a statement. When I got back to the terminus, I was told to go to Aja, where he boarded the bus so that I can trace it from that place. Surprisingly, the driver showed up in the company's uniform. For me, justice must prevail because that driver is not telling the truth. Everyone knows that there is nothing hidden again. We have a lawyer on the ground on this same case. Speaking about the condition of the mother of the deceased, mother, she said, "Her condition is worse. She is in pain. She's already losing her mind. Her situation is not encouraging right now. The late Bamishi just graduated last year from our fashion school and started work recently at Ajar. She promised her aged parents good life. Our mother is 70 years old and the father is 80 years old. On that fateful day, she bought children's clothes for our elder sister, who just put to bed, but we didn't see any of those items. Right now, the environment is tense, filled with tears, pains, anger, and agony. The father is trying hard not to break down completely, but the mother is totally inconsolable. She was a very good Christian from her home, and she was still a virgin." When Vanda Metro spoke with more Lagosians about the driver's accounts of the circumstances that led to the death of the girl, some indicted the driver and accused him of complicity, while others said he was yet to say the truth as regards what transpired. Another turn. The Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge Force Criminal Investigations Department DIG Joseph Obiajulu Ebunike is dead. Vanguard gathered that DIG Ebunike was feeling uncomfortable during the weekend and on Tuesday went to see the doctor for a medical checkup, after which he was given drugs and told to go. Minutes later, the senior officer, who was said to have driven into office in company of family and was his usual bubbling self, slumped and died. DIG Ebunike recently headed a special investigation panel that investigated the alleged involvement of suspended DCP Albert Eli, former commander of the Police Intelligence Team, IRT, over the $1.1 million hush puppy internet fraud reported slumped in the office and died before medical response could be performed later on him. Ebunike, who had previously served as the DIG in charge of finance and administration before he was appointed DIG investigation, hails from Onitsha in Anambra State and in the DIG overseeing the Southeast geopolitical zone. A senior police officer who was evidently in pain over the shocking demise confirmed the death of Ebunike. You are watching the national news from BGI TV. Before we go, a quick take on the next story. 10 suspected kidnappers who have been allegedly terrorizing Igboho'S APT axis of Kwara State have been arrested. They were nabbed following a raid of their hideout in a forest where they allegedly keep their victims. The axis has lately become notorious for kidnapping activities, with some of the victims found dead even after payment of ransom. Some of the dangerous weapons allegedly recovered from them include guns, knives, and cutlasses, among other weapons they used to perpetrate their crime. The Kwara State Vigilante Commander Alhaji Saka Ibrahim confirmed the incident during a telephone chat with Daily Trust. According to him, 7 were arrested on Tuesday while 3 were nabbed on Wednesday. But our men are still combing the bush. We will hand them over to the police when they come out of the forest. And reaching out to the last story. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, says the current load shedding and outage being experienced nationwide is as a result of low power generation by the generation company's GenCos. A statement on Tuesday by the spokesperson Indidi Umba explained that TCN can only transmit the quantum of power provided by GenCos through national grid to distribution load centers. Umba said TCN does not generate electricity and can only transport cumulative generation from all the generation companies nationwide to distribution load centers. Clarifying that the distribution companies are responsible for end users' consumption, the official said TCN only allocates power to distribution companies based on the percentage provided by NERC. Umba said the cumulative generation nationwide is low, disclosing that GenCos have attributed it to poor gas supply, fault in generating units of generating companies, scheduled and unscheduled maintenance. Currently, 14 gas-power generating stations were either not generating at all or had limited generation at various times within the period. Also, Jeba Hydro and Shiroro power generating stations were either out or had limited generation, causing additional loss of 232 MW from the grid. The statement added that, except cumulative power generation increases considerably for TCN to transmit, the government firm would continue to load share. The company, however, showed of efficient allocation of the total load generated by power generating stations into the grid. That was the national news from BGI TV. But before we go, a quick recap of the headlines once again. Many wounded, shops burnt as Yoruba Hausa youth clash in Ogun. Bamishe relieved as BRT resumes operations in Lagos. BRT mother, guardian mourns, says Bamishe was a hard-working, diligent lady. Slain BRT victim, Bamishe was a virgin, mom inconsolable, dad had to pacify, brother-in-law. Head of Abagari Pro Panel, DIG Ebunike Slums, dies in Abuja 10 minutes after medical checkup. 8,217 were nabbed in Kwara Forest. And last story, TCN explains nationwide power outage. Thank you for watching. For more updates on our YouTube channel, the handle is Baba Bagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell, access the all option. On Facebook, Bagede Imo with Alawi Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. On Instagram, Bagede Imo _22. For advert placement of goods and services, coverage of events and function. The phone number streaming on your screen is the direct line to call, strictly for advert. Thank you for watching. I am Mori Remy Lawal.